All right. Well, I'm Jerry Buckley, president of Reedley College, and I want to welcome everyone to today's town hall. We're getting ready to open classes for fall of 2020, and I wanted to make sure that students had access to current information that influence your ability to work with us at Reedley College and take classes both this fall and spring semester. Today, we're going to move through a bit of a formal agenda. I'm going to be introducing our Vice President of Instruction, Dale Van Dam. I'll also be introducing to you our District Health and Safety Officer, Darren Cousineau, our Vice President of Student Services, Renee Craig Marius, our Vice President of Administrative Services, Melanie Heifel. And then we're going to go through a presentation on a new format that we'll be using this academic year to help offer programs and classes for students known as guided pathways. And we'll have a number of people that I'll be introducing later in the program that will address those topics. Let's start today with an overview of what classes will look like at the Reedley College campus this coming fall. I'll turn things over to Dale Van Dam.
All right, thank you, Dr. Buckley, and welcome to our students. We're looking forward to either seeing you on campus for a few of you, or mostly online as the fall semester gets underway. So you may have questions about, gee, what will it look like this fall at Reedley College? So based on all the information we could gather, both external sources and our own faculty and some feedback from students and health experts, we decided to implement an instructional model for the fall that looks like about 80% of our classes will be online. And that means fully online. So there's a variety of how those could be presented, but you basically will not have to come to campus for those classes. 80% of our classes will be fully online. The other 20% will have at least some face-to-face component. And most of those 20% of classes are focused in our career tech education area, our art, music, and then some of our science labs have a face-to-face component. So if you don't know what career tech means, it means classes like auto tech, aviation maintenance, a lot of our ag classes, our dental assisting, our certified nursing assistants. So that kind of broadly describes the CTE field. If you want to know exactly what your schedule looks like, it's accurate now in Web Advisor, so you can go on and see what your class schedule is. We are seeing a few classes, even as late as this week, move from some face-to-face component to online. So be aware of that. Keep looking at your schedule on Web Advisor. That's kind of what it looks like. Now, if you do have a face-to-face class on campus, you should be aware of some basic guidance, safety guidance for when you come on campus. And I want to emphasize a couple of things. One is that we've done everything we can to stay current with guidance from the state, the county, other agencies, and we've really set up our face-to-face schedule so it's protective of not only your health, but the health of our instructors and the health of our staff. So that's been priority one as we set this schedule in the fall. When you get to campus, if you have a face-to-face class or you come on campus for a counseling appointment or some other appointment, you should be aware that we're going to be observing what we're calling standard precautions. And these are the things you've probably heard of consistently. You've been watching the news, reading the newspaper, watching features on the internet. These are the things you've heard of, I'm sure. So one is going to be social distancing. Whenever possible, we're going to practice social distancing, whether you're in class, walking across campus, going to the cafeteria, anything you're doing on campus, you want to stay 6 feet away from anybody else whenever you can. We're going to require facial coverings So that doesn't have to be a surgical mask. It doesn't necessarily have to be an N95 mask, but you need to cover your nose and mouth with some kind of facial covering. There'll be enhanced cleaning and disinfection, and a lot of this will be done by our professional staff, but everyone's going to need to pitch in. So in most classes, there'll be a short period at the beginning and end of class where you'll be asked to sort of disinfect your area, especially if you're in a, say, a lab with some high touch tools or beakers or something that many students may touch during the course of a class. We'll ask everybody to disinfect those using supplies that are provided in the classroom. And I guess the last one is hand washing and sort of personal hygiene. So we've all heard this: wash your hands often, don't touch your face. If you have to sneeze or cough, do so in a tissue or into your elbow. Just be thoughtful about others around you. Again, we're all in this together. So you being careful about your hygiene helps other people in the area to be safe from the virus. And then just a couple of other things. We have a daily health screening that's available on our website. And every, whether you're a student, employee, administrator, it doesn't matter if you're coming on campus, you need to fill out that daily health screening. It's right at the top of our webpage, our homepage. You can see the COVID updates and go in there and fill out that screening. Again, that's every day. And basically it just asks you, do you have any of the symptoms for COVID-19? And if you answer no, it gives you the message, okay, come on to campus. You should do that before you arrive on campus. And then finally, if you feel ill at any time, if you have you feel feverish, or you feel a cold sweats, or you got a persistent cough, you're just not feeling well, we recommend go home. Go home till you feel better. If you need to, get in touch with your doctor. Let your instructor know if you're not going to be there. But we're really trying to set it up so if you don't feel well, you won't be here. And we're asking faculty to be as flexible as they can. So if you can't be there, they'll find another way for you to complete assignments and assessments. Yeah, so that's kind of our general outline. There's one other thing here, and that is we're instituting something for right now we're calling the Tiger Pledge. And basically it's a commitment on the part of everybody coming on campus that says, okay, I'm going to come on campus, but in doing so, I'm going to observe the guidelines as I've just stated them. I'll do the health screening before I get to campus. And then when I get there, I'll observe the standard precautions. I'll wear a face mask or facial covering. I'll social distance. I'll be aware of cleaning and disinfection, my personal hygiene, hand washing, et cetera. It's just a commitment. It's an awareness building piece. And I hope we'll get to the point where we'll all sign it. But right now, students are being asked to sign that Tiger Pledge. So that's kind of a general outline. Again, heavily online, but those classes that need that face-to-face component will have it this fall. So there's Q&A at the bottom. We'll, at the end of the program, you can all ask if you've got questions, but right now I want to turn it over to Darren Cousineau. He's the Environmental Safety and Risk Mitigation Director for the district. Darren, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see so many people participating on today's town hall for our students. I'm looking forward to the fall semester, even if it's going to be a little different than what we're used to. I just only had a couple of comments I'd like to make. As you probably are aware, California is surging right now. The Central Valley is particularly surging, and we are on the state's watch list. And in fact, yesterday we saw the highest number of total deaths. We broke a record in California. So the reason we are implementing the strategies that we are for that very reason, because COVID is here in the Valley. It's spreading, and we have to take our precautions to minimize that spread and to put a halt to this deadly virus. There are some criteria that the state uses to determine when we can start resuming our normal activities, such as coming to regular classes in person and going out to dinner and things of that nature. And I'd like to just briefly discuss that with you. there's 4 criteria that the state uses when determining what level or phase of the coronavirus implementation phase we're in. And that is has to do with the ability to test. So we have to be able to test in excess of 150 tests per day per 100,000 population. And we currently are meeting that. We're averaging about 217 tests per day per 100,000 people within our population. The next criteria is that they look at the transmission of the disease. What is the transmission rate of the disease? And what they'd like to see is the transmission rate, and that is the rate of positive results relative to the number of tests taken. They'd like to see a rate of less than 8%. Fresno County, we're currently sitting at 11.6%, and that seems to be fluctuating over the last couple of weeks between 10 and 12%. So we are still 2 to 3 to 4 percentage points below that state requirement. The next criteria is increasing hospitalizations. What the state is looking at is no more than a 10% increase in hospitalizations over a 3-day average period. We are currently at 14.1%. So again, based on that criteria, we are effectively in almost a lockdown stage. And then finally, we look at hospital capacity, particularly ICU capacity. What the state would like to see is that there is more than 20% of the ICU beds available for the public. Right now, we are at 7.1%. And that's very concerning because Fresno County only has 149 ICU beds. And as of this morning, only 21 are available for use. So looks like we're going to be in this for a while. We need to get these numbers down, and by you students and our staff and faculty doing the things that Dale had just mentioned, washing your hands, wearing a facial covering, social distancing, all those things, and you're going to be hearing that over and over again. That's how we're going to move these numbers in a positive direction so we can begin to resume more normal activities. So with that, I'll pause and pass it on to the next presenter.
Actually, I'll take a moment just to thank our first 2 presenters. Thanks to both Dale and Darren. I wanted Darren to have a chance to speak with you all today because I need you to understand a couple of things. Number one, as president of Reedley College, your safety is my most important responsibility. It's a responsibility not only for students, but our faculty, staff, and administration remain safe as well. And I needed you to hear what the current statistics are and also what the touch points are that have been established by the state of California and by the Fresno County Department of Health. And as you've heard, we're very close to the shutdown point. So what you've heard about so far is that we've had a very interactive process that have involved our faculty and staff, as well as our administration, designing a return to campus plan. Unfortunately, that plan is what we call a living document. And by that, I mean, it can change really in a heartbeat. And at this point, we were very close to having that heartbeat hit us. So one of the reasons for the town hall today is to update you on what we currently have planned. It's also to update you on the fact that we may be changing that plan between now and the start of classes, depending upon how our health statistics look within Fresno, Madera, and even King and Tulare County, because we serve all those areas. So we're really monitoring carefully what our health statistics are. And as Darren mentioned, we have hotspots throughout the Central Valley right now. So with that said, I want to continue on today with a discussion of what we currently have planned for you. And for that, I'd like to turn to our Vice President of Student Services, Renee Craig Marius. Renee?
Thank you, Dr. Buckley. Good afternoon, everyone. Just some basic information about how we'll continue to provide you with high quality support services via email, Zoom, phone, remote services. We will continue to do that because your safety and the safety and protection of our employees is the top priority, like Dr. Buckley mentioned. So we will continue to provide that remotely. What we will be doing the first week of the semester, as we've always done, is to extend hours until 6 o'clock virtually for counseling, admissions and records, financial aid, and I believe the business office as well. So those services will still be available virtually. So let me kind of go through briefly what that might look like or what that will look like. So all of our services that we have right now, counseling, admissions and records, financial aid, DSPNS, student support services, the full range that you're used to will continue to be provided to you virtually. And each of the services will provide that information and details on how to access the services on our webpage, just like we have before. We also have the online information center where we have staff and faculty assisting there, and will be able to help you and direct you into the right webpage or resource or phone number or email that can help you. So please know we are doing everything we can to make sure we are accessible to you. There will be some limited service on campus, and I say limited in the sense that it's only under extenuating circumstances in which we would may need to meet with a student face to face, and those would be determined based on that program and working with that student. So for example, if there is no other way to serve a student with financial aid or admissions and records or counseling via remote, then we'll make some accommodations. But ultimately, students will be served online. The other thing to know is the Student Services building will be closed. So if there is a need to submit documents, there'll be a drop box on the outside of the building. Again, working with that department, if there is a need to meet with a student, they will arrange that with the student. We will follow all protocols as far as any entry into the building, and students will only be allowed in one at a time with that staff person. So they will be the one in charge of opening up that door and letting the student in, and if that's necessary. But we anticipate we're going to be able to provide all your needs remotely online. We also will be continuing our Tiger Pantry and our food distribution. So the drive-up food distribution will be in Lot B, and that will be available on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and on Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Noon. And so there will be a flyer posted and available for students so you know when that is. So that will be continuing. We also will continue to engage students and connect with them, and we'll talk a little bit later about some of those activities for the beginning of the semester. But I know Student Activities is working on virtual activities and events such as bingo and a scavenger hunt and some other things that are going to be pretty exciting. And again, as depending on how things go with the data and what things are looking like, that may change, but they're doing the best that they can to actually prepare some other activities for students to engage online. Also, we're working with ASG, and I think Stephen might be on the line here as well, maybe Gerardo. And in terms of, there he is. In terms of they're going to still hold their meetings virtually. They're going to still keep things moving forward. I think we're looking at a virtual club rush and some different activities there. So they'll be available. We've been working closely with them to maintain that. Our residence hall, we are at capacity. Based on guidelines, we can only accept up to 70 students in the residence hall, one person per room. And so we are at capacity at this point. If you are one of those students who are going to be a resident in our residence hall, then Lisa McAndrews has already reached out to you, I'm sure, and you've worked through that process in terms of the contract and in terms of the protocols that'll be followed. But if you have any questions about that, the residence hall student handbook is posted online on the webpage, so you can read about that and everything that they're going to be doing. I think I'll leave the other good stuff to our discussion about guided pathways and our student engagement to later on, but we have some great things planned as well for the first week and the beginning of the semester.
Thanks, Renee. I wanted to also offer you the opportunity to hear more about how our campus itself will operate. Some of you may need access to technology. Some of you may need access to the internet. Some of you may need access to food and other resources or our bookstore. And so for those sorts of questions and answers, I first want to have our Vice President of Administrative Services, Melanie Heifel, address some of the basics, and then we'll open it up, as Dale mentioned, for questions later on if there are other things beyond what you hear this afternoon. Another important point would be that if Melanie could pass this to Dan Demers, who's the head of our IT department, he can talk a little bit about how you can access some of the computer technology as well. Melanie?
Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today. So just to give you some updates on what's happening with some of our facilities on campus, even with COVID, we are moving forward with our math science and our math science building. The steel structure's up and it's actually starting to look like a building now. So we're moving forward because we want that building complete when we can come back to face-to-face, so you have that new building to come back to. Our heavy truck expansion is almost complete, and that should be ready to go for the fall semester, start of the fall semester. We have been working with our child development staff, and we've moved our portables over to make way for our new child development building. Currently the plans are at DSA right now, and then we hope to start construction in January on our new child development building. So the other thing that we're also doing is we're looking at areas that we can upgrade and improve, so that way when we do come back face-to-face with most of our classes, you come back to some improved facilities. So we are looking at that. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is our food service operation. So during the semester, starting the fall semester, our food service operation will be open. It will be limited in the number of hours it'll be open. It'll be open, I think, from 7:30 to 2:30, 7:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon. We are working with the IT staff right now to develop an app that you can download on your phone and place orders and also pay for the orders on your phone, and then just go by the cafeteria and pick it up. We are expanding outside tables and shade to accommodate so you could sit down and eat your lunch or your breakfast. At this time, we will not have any interior or inside seating. It's all going to have to be outside. Once we get the green light and can open up to where we can eat, to where you can sit inside, we will obviously space out tables for social distancing. But the cafeteria will be open, and there'll be a limited number of people. I think there's, I think it's either 5 or 10 that will be allowed in at one time. Everything will be prepackaged, ready to go, but you will have the ability to also place orders. Another thing that we are looking at doing is placing vending machines over on the campus by the our Aero Auto buildings that will have prepackaged food that you can purchase. And then we will also be placing one in the dorm. So those are some things that we're looking at trying to do, and we hope to see you all soon, but take care. And I'm going to turn this over to Dan, and he can explain how you can access technology.
Thanks, Melanie, and good afternoon, everybody. We are continuing to make IT assets available to you as you need them, which would include laptops. And in some cases, on a limited basis, we still have Wi-Fi, which is remote access points that you may be able to use. If you find that you're in a place where you need access to technology, or you don't have current technology that is adequate for you to do your coursework, if you can simply call our IT department, and this is posted out on the web as well, but you can reach our IT department at 637-2555, and somebody from the IT department will arrange a pickup time for you. They'll gather your assets and make sure that they're configured properly and arrange for you to come by and pick them up. So you will have access to that. And of course, you'll be able to keep those assets all semester long, as much as you need them. As Melanie mentioned, I think there are certain areas within the campus that you will have access to. There is Wi-Fi outdoors. So if you find that you do have technology, but you're needing access to Wi-Fi, we still provide access to Wi-Fi in parking lot B, and that signage is there so that you can pull up in your car and access campus Wi-Fi there. And then there's some areas out in and around the student bookstore and cafeteria areas outdoors that have good quality access to Wi-Fi. So if you need to sit down at a bench and do your work there, you're available to do that. So again, the number that you want to write down, it's the magic number, is 637-2555, 637-2555. I sound like a car dealer. And we'll be happy to get in your hands what you need.
Thanks very much, Dan. I appreciate that. And Melanie, remind me, did we talk about parking?
No, I forgot about parking. So for the fall semester, for those students that do have face-to-face classes or hybrid classes, we will not be charging a parking fee for the fall. So parking is free for the fall semester.
Thanks again. Next, I want to announce that we are, as a college, launching something called Guided Pathways. It's a fancy name for simply trying to make things easier for students in terms of finding your career path and having help in achieving whatever your educational goal is along that career path. To hear more about what we'll actually be doing this fall, I'm going to turn back to Renee Craig Marius. Renee?
Thank you. And I'm going to tag team with a few people here, Kurt Pylon, as well as Natalie Culver-Dawkins and Shannon Solis. So we'll tag team on this piece of it. So we're really excited about introducing pathways to the campus community, especially students. And you'd say, well, what's a pathway? So a pathway really is an overarching group of courses, majors, programs that are aligned to a particular kind of theme. So for example, you've heard at the university setting, the School of Business or the School of Science and Technology or something like that. That's similar to what we're talking about. So we will have 7 pathways like STEM, Ag and Natural Resources, Industrial and Manufacturing Design, things like that, in which they're overarching, but they allow you as a student to come together in community with other students, other faculty and staff, and also get a sense and a taste of the particular major you're interested in, get introduced to that, get introduced to people that can help you and support you along the way, and have an opportunity to really explore and think about, is this the right major for me? And give you that chance to kind of explore that, but then also be able to have the flexibility if you need to change majors and want to change majors. So it's a really exciting way for students to enter in our campus and connect. And that's the biggest thing I think for Guided Pathways, is helping students connect and get integrated with all of the services and support and faculty and courses and programs available, and make it easy instead of this long maze of things of trying to navigate college. So we'll be starting that, and we're really, really excited to introduce that to you. So what we will be doing is the first introduction to this will be kind of a revised onboarding new student welcome called Tiger Preview. And so I'm going to turn it over to Kurt, if I can see him. There he is. So we have some great engaging things to help students get connected and get started with college. And so Kurt, you want to talk about Tiger Preview?
Absolutely, thank you. And I'm having some technology issues and also some construction on my house, so I apologize if it freezes. Tiger Preview, though, what it is it's a basically an orientation for our new students. We're focusing specifically on our students who have yet to take a class with us at Reedley College. And we're going to have a preview of our services and all of the things that we're going to have for students for the fall semester. We're really experiencing this all together. And so we wanted to make sure that we help students figure out how to get connected with our different resources and our support services that we have. We're actually going to have a live Zoom session very similar to this next week. It's going to be on Wednesday at 11 o'clock. And you're all welcome to participate. Again, we're focusing on new students, but if you're a continuing student with us, this may be your first dedicated semester for online classes. So you can definitely help us support our new students, but also maybe learn a couple of new things that you weren't sure of before. We're partnering with ASG on that. So Stephen's going to be a big support, a big help for us with that. But what we're really doing again is we're trying to help students get excited about the fall semester. Start thinking about, some of the strategies and some of the resources that you need in order to get ready for the semester. We're going to talk about technology. We're going to talk about the pledge as a VP Van Dam had mentioned. And, we're just going to hopefully have a lot of good conversations with our new students, really facilitated by our current students. We also have a website dedicated to the preview that we'll be sharing. That's going to be live on Monday for the staff and faculty, and also students that are on. If you wanted to participate, you go to, and I'll put it in the chat in a second, but it's readlycollege.edu/RSVP. And when you RSVP, it'll send you the information for the Zoom. And we look forward to, again, answering any questions and helping you guys get ready and get excited for the fall semester.
Great. Thanks, Kurt. The other thing that we're doing also is pathway engagement activities. So that'll be the first week of the semester, and students will get, it's for all new and continuing students, and you will get more information soon on how to engage in that process. But it's been a collaboration with faculty and staff, faculty, both counseling faculty and instructional faculty, working together to create an engaging experience for you as you start the semester, and to build that community within the pathway. So you will be, with each pathway, we have an embedded success team. And so what that means is that's your village. Those are the peeps, those are the people who you can connect with, right? You will know who your primary faculty member is, your primary counselor. You'll have a student mentor, peer person to connect with. And our success team will also be having what we call a data coach. It's not something, someone you will be dealing with as a student, but it's really to help us look more deeply into how can we best look at our data and our outcomes, and how to best support students with interventions and different types of supports, and help them and welcome them and make them feel more inclusive and included in the campus community. So there's just, we'll just be creating that, and that'll be exciting. So there will be some activities happening that first week to get you connected and engaged. And I know Erin Cobb or Samara Trimble's not on the line right now, but I don't know if Kurt or Natalie or Shannon want to chime in on that one.
Well, let me double back to that. Actually, part of this preview is going to be, and I apologize for missing it earlier, but we're going to be having a conversation about guided pathways and really what our pathways consist of. I know that Dr. Buckley and Renee had mentioned we have 7 pathways. And they're based on majors. And so during the preview, you're going to get the opportunity, Canvas, which is going to be really your hub for information moving forward and how to get in contact with your success team, and a lot of great stuff. And they have great activities planned for that first week of the semester. So again, the preview is happening before the semester starts, and we're going to get you ready for the semester, and also ready, and really we want you to check your emails so that you can receive the information about your designated pathway moving forward, because again, that's going to be how we'll communicate with you remotely through Canvas, and also through the portal, which is going to consist of course, Canvas, and then also your college.
Thanks, Kurt. And I think the last item we want to just touch on, and I'm going to kind of poke Natalie and Shannon on this in terms of Starfish and what that is going to be in terms of a support for students.
I'll have Shannon chime in here also. So hi, everybody. So we've got some really exciting stuff happening with a lot of the tools that we're using, and we're starting to implement to really help us launch guided pathways and looking to find ways for us to interact better with the students, ways for us to interact more between faculty and staff, make sure that we've got this whole system and put in place around you as students. So we're really working very hard to launch what is called Starfish. The last semester, you may have gotten some emails from something called Starfish and you were wondering what that was. So we're in the process of launching that amongst all of these other things. What this tool is really a way for us It's a full-blown system that has a lot of components, and it's really a way for us to additionally communicate with you as students and communicate with each other to help address any of the issues and concerns and stress points that you might have as students. So the emails you might have gotten had to do with flags that maybe one of your instructors had some concerns about you may be missing class, or if they could have given you a kudo, saying that they were really happy about the progress that you've been making. So we're starting to launch other pieces of this system. We're looking at it being a way for you to be able to schedule appointments with your counselors and other folks on campus. So we're going to be doing that, especially now that we're virtual for the beginning of fall. We want to make sure that you have an easier way as students to be able to connect with the offices on campus. Renee mentioned that there's going to be some offices that are going to be providing appointment-only services. So for example, you can schedule an appointment with one of those services, admissions and records, financial aid, and be able to check into that appointment so the office knows that you're there without having to try and open a door or call somebody. So we're working on getting those kind of things set up. The other pieces that we're doing is we're working on just making sure that we're interacting a little bit better through that service and be able to provide you some different opportunities to interact with us and your success teams. So that's the piece that we're also very, very excited about. So when we launch Starfish and you're able to get in there as a student, we're thrilled because you'll be able to see that success network. You'll be able to see that success team in the system, and you'll know which counselors you can contact. You'll know which instructors you have. So we'll be able to build that network of support around you. You won't have to go searching for those folks. They'll be right there for you. So I don't know, Renee, was there anything else you wanted me to cover?
Oh, I think that's it.
Sounds like a fabulous system, and I appreciate everybody's input today. If you have more questions, as you've heard, we're going to have, if you're a new student, an opportunity for you to get together in your pathways groups virtually during the Tiger preview. So if you want to hear more, again, Kurt, that was August 5th at what time?
Sorry, it's 11 o'clock is when we're going to have our live Zoom session. And once it's done, we're actually going to have the website's going to be live, and we're going to have the recording of the session up because we want students that are unable to participate to still get the information. So 11 o'clock though is when we'll be live.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. I think at this point, I'd like to open it up for questions for those of you that are on the call. So feel free to either write into the chat, or we'll basically have our moderator read questions to us and answer those to you as we can. So Stephen Kodur, are you with us today?
Yeah, I am, Dr. Buckley. Can you hear me?
I can. I see you're on the move.
I'm on the move. Yeah, I got stuck in traffic this morning. I'm actually liking Renee's background. I went and visited Tahoe this last couple of days, and that picture really reminds me of Lake Tahoe where I was just at.
Yep.
But yeah, on my way back into the Central Valley, and it's definitely getting a little bit hotter as I'm going.
Yep.
So we have a couple questions already. One is the library going to be open, or are we just going to have virtual services for library?
So Dale, would you like to take that one?
Sure. The library will start in a completely virtual mode. We have made arrangements to allow students to access to materials on reserve, to request checkout of books online and have them picked up. All the reference materials will be available in the same mode. You can consult with the librarian and staff virtually. So as of the start of school, the library will operate 100% in virtual mode.
And I think what I'd like to add to that, Stephen, is, as you heard at the beginning of the program today, a lot of what our college will be allowed to do is going to be dependent upon what our countywide health statistics look like. We have these pressure points, if you will. We're looking at basically how much infection is taking place around us. We're looking at what's called a surge statistic. We're looking at available ICU beds, for example. So depending upon how our stats look throughout the academic year, and in particular right now, just through the fall semester, you may find us go totally online and then open back up again as statistics allow us to, and as the state and local governments do.
Dr. Buckley, and because library services are going to be online, what is the status of like reference textbooks? Because when we were meeting in person, or when we had classes in person, a lot of faculty were starting to put textbooks on reference, which you could check out for, like an hour, 2 hours. How is that going to play out for this upcoming semester?
An excellent question. I know the last time we brought this up, we talked about the idea of trying to use as many virtual copies of books as we could. So I don't know where we are exactly in researching that, but I'll turn it back over to Dale to answer.
So we have engaged with a third-party vendor that makes reserve materials, books, textbooks, other class materials that are on reserve for 1 or 2 hour checkout, to make those available virtually. So they're aware of all copyright laws and regulations, and they keep us square with those, and students are allowed access for a comparable period, so an hour or 2 as they need it. But we anticipate we'll have a full list of reserve materials available for student loan, but you'll be able to view them virtually.
Awesome, thank you. I think that just goes to show the importance of OER and the online educational resources that some faculty have really bought into. So thank you for that.
Renee,
If there's any other questions? Oh, sorry.
Maybe I could turn it back to Renee for a minute, because I know that we're also releasing a Canvas shell that has a similar set of resources listed for students to access within student services. Did you want to comment on that, Renee?
Sure. Yes, with coordination with actually ASG and Academic Senate and Student Services, we have student resources that have been pushed into every faculty member's Canvas shell. And so those resources are available to all students to access. So it was important, and we heard the voices of student government, and a resolution went forward to work on that. And so this is the first iteration of that. I believe our goal ultimately at some point would be to, hopefully get that on course syllabi and other areas, but right now, definitely in the Canvas shell, everybody would be able to access those resources. So really excited about that. And with the help of Amanda Tainter, our instructional designer, as well as Rebecca Snyder, Academic Senate President, and Stephen Couder and Gerardo working together to make that happen. So great things.
Thanks, Renee. Stephen, do we have any more questions?
Yeah, there's another question. Bookstore hours. Is the bookstore still going to be open for students to be able to access, or are we trying to take that virtual also?
I know that the last time we spoke with the bookstore manager, he was publishing specific hours. Dale, again, could you review that with us?
I'm going to turn to Melanie on that one for the latest from the bookstore. If Melanie's still with us. Melanie?
She may have had to take a phone call.
Well, here she is.
Sorry. Yes, I was on the phone. What was the question again? I apologize.
Bookstore hours?
So the bookstore hours, hold on just a second, because Roy just sent me the information on that. They are going to be open and allowing students in, I think, 10 at a time into the bookstore. So they will be open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and 8 a.m. to noon on Friday. They are going to leave the window open that they're using right now. In addition, they will have the store open with 10 people in the store at a time to allow for social distancing.
Very good. Thank you.
Awesome. We have another question.
I just want to mention, sorry, just like every other space on campus, they're going to be requiring a facial covering, right? So really you ought to think about, there are some exceptions, but You ought to think about it from the time you get out of your car in your free parking space, wherever you go on campus, in and out of classes, in and out of the bookstore, the cafeteria, any place you might go, really count on wearing your mask.
The question that was being asked, what sort of adaptations are being done in the classroom in order to remain, or in order to have social distancing and remain compliant?
So I'll start with that one if you're okay with that, Dr. Buckley.
Absolutely.
So the classrooms that we are going to be having face-to-face instruction, we have removed extra seating. So most of the classrooms that we'll be using have 6-foot tables. So there'll be 1 student per 6-foot table. The rooms have 2 doors. So there'll be 1 door marked for entry and 1 door marked for exit. For the lab spaces in like biology and chemistry, there will be plexiglass placed on the lab workstations to where there will be, I think in biology, 2 students per work table, but there'll be a plexiglass separating them. In chemistry, I think there's 4 per workstation with plexiglass separating them. In the bigger labs, like the aero hangar, in the auto hangar, or in the auto shop, in welding, manufacturing, those lab spaces are really big. So they already, the way the tools are laid out, it already allows for social distancing.
Just a couple other things. The other thing we've done is move some classes to larger instructional spaces, which allowed, the same number of students to spread out in that larger space to maintain social distancing. Some instructors have gone to instead of being fully face-to-face, they've gone to a hybrid structure where they may meet with half of the class one day and the other half of a class the other day. Some of our lab classes have actually cut down the number of labs, but that allows every student to cycle through and get the same lab experience. Their whole class gets the same lab experience. So they've been very creative in coming up with ways to deliver the core elements of the class to make sure the students get what they need to out of them, that they meet the student learning outcomes, and still maintain safe distancing, wearing masks, all those things we've talked about.
Awesome, thanks.
Did we answer your question regarding the classrooms?
Yes, can you hear me, Melanie?
Okay, yeah, now I can.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I lost connection there for a second. This question is probably for you, Mr. Van Dam. You had mentioned earlier that there is a health screening for students to take before they come onto campus. Are we going to be monitoring that? Like, are professors going to have the list of all their students and whether or not they took that test for that day? Are students not going to be allowed to be on campus if they did not take that test?
At this moment, I'll start with the beginning there. The only one that will have access to it is the college nurse. Arguably, that survey or that screening would contain some confidential medical information, and so we aren't authorized to release that to. But the nurse is authorized as a healthcare professional. We aren't going to exclude, at least for starters, we're not going to exclude students from class. And, this kind of gets to enforcement a bit. We're looking at this as to encourage everybody to be accountable for the health of the campus. Sure, we're operating in as safe a manner as possible. And I think Dr. Buckley may have some thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. I think we've got a common theme being conveyed today, that we are doing everything we can to make sure that we maintain a safe learning environment. and a safe working environment for that matter. So we are looking at everything from athletics to, as you heard before, our career and technical education programs. We're trying to make sure that we use the social distancing appropriately, that we have appropriate hygiene materials in place, that we have spots on campus where you can pick up facial coverings if you happen to forget one, for example. But we would prefer that students take responsibility to basically provide their own face coverings, to do what is recommended by our health department and by physicians across the country and around the world, for that matter, to help prevent the spread of this virus. So everything that we do when you are on campus, if you are on campus, will be to maintain that safe working environment. If you choose not to practice those appropriate precautions, then we will probably have to ask you to leave and not participate in a face-to-face manner.
Dr. Buckley, I see Kelly's online. She may want to respond specifically to the healthcare or the health questionnaire.
Very good. Nurse Kelly, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. I just put in the comment center there. Yeah, if there's a student who has some of the questions that they are unsure, or they question or they answer the question where they might have some symptoms of COVID, then those actually get directed to me, and I will contact the student directly and follow up with them and evaluate for symptoms and see if they do need to follow up with their primary, or if they need a primary contact. So I will be getting all of those student questionnaires that have those red flags.
Thank you. I think the other key point here is that Nurse Kelly becomes the central point for communication. If you feel you have concerns and you fill out the questionnaire and have positive symptoms, she will basically help refer you out and take care of those situations. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Our next, we have a student that actually has their hand raised, Eric Rosa. So if you have a question, you can ask it now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hello. I was the one that had joined the last student town hall. I have a question about the DSPNS office.
Mhm.
So what if we need like a book put onto our computers? How do we get that service?
Dr. Morgan, aren't you?
Yes, our media specialist Ricardo Cuevas, he is serving student at capacity. And if you reach out to our office, we will coordinate with him so that you can get that done. Very
good. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And then also I have another question. So the last student town hall, you had said that, or I don't know what you had said, but someone had said that there was gonna be an activity next week sometime for students to participate in.
Right. We have the Tiger preview coming up on August 5th at 11 a.m. That'll be the live component. And for those that can't make it, we'll have that recorded so you can watch a recording of the event after the fact if you have a conflict.
Okay, and then how do we attend it?
Kurt, are you still with us? Can you answer that question?
He had to step away for a second, so I don't think he's come back, but this is Natalie. So I'll put some information in the chat for you.
Very good. Thanks, Natalie.
Awesome, thank you. So, I was just going to make a last call for questions at this time, Dr. Buckley. I had one more, and it's in regards to our Tiger Pantry. I know we have limited hours because of COVID and not having too many staff on campus. But I know last year there were times where students would come and the pantry wasn't open, but they were able to like make an appointment because they're either working or they have to watch their kids during that time, or they didn't have transportation. Are there still ways that they can call and maybe set up an appointment to just come and grab some food if they couldn't make it during that time?
I know that we worked with Lisa McAndrews last spring on that. Renee, would you like to address that?
I think either Vanessa might be on the line as well as Liz. Oh, there she is. Where's Vanessa? You want to answer that? Thank you.
Yes, so we're going to continue the same that we've done in the past. We will be available if the hours that we set up for the fall are not, they don't work out, then we'll make appointment times to meet the student at the pantry.
Vanessa, they can just contact the student activities office?
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Ooh.
Do you want to repeat what you said?
My phone, Renee, is forwarded to my cell phone. So if they call my extension, it'll come to me and then I can set up something with them.
Great. Thank you, Liz.
All right, very good. Anything else?
Awesome. We have two more questions in the chat. The first one is about the pledge. Are we signing the pledge before going back to school, or do you have to sign it in each class? How does the Tiger Pledge work?
Dale?
What we're designing is an online signature process, and the hope is that we'll be able to filter it in a way that you won't have to sign it multiple times. So it's not going to be a hard copy process. It's going to be online virtual signature, and then we'll archive it so that we can search the database to make sure folks have signed it. So we would hope to distribute that and have it, we plan to distribute it and have it ready for your signature before classes start. And I think I heard Kurt say that they will address that also in the Tiger preview.
Awesome. So if a student is taking a class that does happen to be on campus or hybrid, would that possibly be emailed out to them, just saying, hey, you're going to be on campus?
Yes, and I think more likely we'll send you a link to the electronic form. We also hope that students coming onto campus for any kind of service, if it's a counseling or DSPNS, anytime they're on campus, that they'll sign the pledge. Again, it's an awareness piece, and it's also, as I said, kind of a commitment that we're all going to be accountable for the health of the campus, the health of our students and our employees. So it's really more in that spirit that we're asking people to pledge, hey, I'm going to participate like everybody else and help make sure that we're as safe as we can be as we come back to campus.
Awesome, thank you. And just for everyone's reference, the Tiger Pantry information and also the Tiger Preview information is in the chat for everyone. And then we had another question. I know, we've already talked that a lot of our classes are going to be virtual this semester, but for those that are on campus and we have brand new students, I know in previous semesters there were student ambassadors that help students find their classes. Is there any sort of that kind of help for new incoming students this semester?
Renee, I think this is yours.
Yeah. If there's a need for something like that, then we can definitely, the Office of Outreach can help support that. I believe we're doing a kind of virtual tour of the campus. So we will also, during Tiger Preview, and I'm sure in the pathway engagement activities, students will be able to, actually see where things are at in a virtual way, like a tour. So then they will also be able to know where those are services and also the classes on campus. So yes, I would encourage, in fact, I can put the information in the chat room in terms of getting in touch with the Director of Outreach. And if students have questions or they have needs, then definitely can reach out to them.
And that'll be posted in the notes after this town hall is over as well, so people can reference it after the fact. I think I'd just like to add my encouragement to Renee's that our Tiger Preview is going to be very important for new students to attend. So we hope that you'll go ahead and RSVP and attend that, because much of the things that we did face-to-face will now be taking place virtually in that particular opportunity for students to learn more about their pathways and specifically about the resources and the physical buildings here at the campus, including their classrooms.
I think also, Stephen, I know in instruction, the deans and others have been encouraged to be very visible that first week of class, not only to help direct student traffic, but also to see where we may have bottlenecks or where our plans need to be modified a bit to work more smoothly. So that's part of this process as well, as gathering feedback and improving the plan and as quickly as possible, adapting new ways to handle traffic and direct students. And so we should be quite visible that first week of classes to help students find their way.
I think you'll find the cadre of us wearing our Ask Me buttons out there on campus as before. Well, I'm going to have to say good afternoon and thank you for everyone who's attended. We have another town hall for staff coming up now. So we're going to have to sign off and move into that particular venue. But thank you to everyone who's attended. And thank you, Stephen, for moderating again. We really appreciate that.
Of course. Thank you, Dr. Buckley. Are there any Reedley College face masks in the works?
We are working with the bookstore right now to see if they can provide some for students.
All right.
That'd be awesome.
See you all during
Thank
that
you for
first.
all your hard work, staff. We appreciate you.
See you soon. Bye.